Hi, good morning. It is Friday, March the 1st, 2019. It is the beginning of my birthday month, so I am really excited. Yes, I am one of those people who celebrates my birthday all month, and I have a special day on my actual birthday. Excuse me. There's a message from Wordsworth. It's this little app on Facebook that delivers new vocabulary words each day, and it defines them, and it'll ask you if you want to see synonyms or see the word in a sentence. It's actually really great for expanding a vocabulary. So if you want to practice for the language part of the SAT and ACT, or just build your vocabulary, it is a great app. Check it out. It has an owl icon. And again, it's called Wordsworth. WORDSWORTH. Okay. So today's topic, coming to you from my car in the great state of Texas, is hindsight is a bitch. Forgive me for cursing. If you're not into cursing, if you're cool with it, great. We could possibly be friends. So there's a lot of videos out there on YouTube that talk about different red flags of abusive behavior, particularly narcissistic abusive behavior. And there are lots of videos that go into some of the things that narcissists will do, specifically rage out, especially after having what's called a narcissistic injury, which is basically a blow to their ego. That's how I would describe it. Oh, all these notifications are coming all the way up. There's one from DoorDash telling me that I can earn extra money today. Oh, okay, sorry. It's just distracting when it pops up on my screen. I know you all can't see it, but for me, it's a distraction. So I just wanted to get rid of that real quick. Okay. Anyway, so as I was saying, there's a lot of videos out there that talk about the narcissistic rage, which to me is a huge indicator that you are dealing with someone that is at the very least emotionally unstable and dangerous to be around. So the narcissistic rage comes from a blow to their ego whenever they feel disrespected and not acknowledged and not important. So they might make something up in their heads, or they there might be some sorry, I'm trying to find the words. They can get a narcissistic injury from something they perceive to be offensive and insulting to them, or something that actually is. They just take everything really personally, and they tend to be really sensitive, which is why a lot of survivors will talk about having to walk on eggshells. I always have to tiptoe around the suspected narcissist feelings. And let me state as a disclaimer that I am not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I cannot diagnose anybody, but based on what I've seen of the ex-husband and what I've read about other people's partners and family members and friends and co-workers, I believe I can make the fair assessment that the ex has some issues. So anyway, starting over for what? The third time. One of the things that the ex-husband exhibited was narcissistic rage, and I'm going to break down what that looked like for me. Maybe it looked, or will look, or hopefully will have looked, because I hate to hear that anyone is trapped in this situation. I know it's hard to get out, so hey, I feel for you, and you're in my thoughts. I hope you do get out, and you get out safely. But I'm sorry for the fourth time now. Starting over. So when the ex-husband would rage, you would see his muscles tighten. He would clench his fist, and he would start to shake and make weird grunting noises. And sometimes he would start shouting, fuck, stuff like that. And it got to the point where it went from what I perceived as a, I wouldn't say regular, but, your typical display of anger to something that was really scary, because, he would reach into the drawer and grab knives and hold it to his wrist. He would break down in a tearful fit and start having a pity party and saying how much of a crap person that he was. And if I didn't console him after something abusive that he said and did, or a complete F up on his part, he would tell me that, or demand that I forgive him. Initially he would ask me if I would forgive him and just move on, but when I didn't, he would grow increasingly agitated, and he would cry a lot, even more. And when I didn't respond to that, he would get really angry. Now, I'm going to say that I am an empathetic person, and I do consider myself someone who takes other people's feelings into consideration. The thing is that when someone is always throwing a pity party, never wanting to be accountable, never wanting to be responsible, and then follows that up with saying some nasty things to you by calling you out of your name, by calling you a hoe and a bitch and a slut, and things like that, and just saying some really disgusting things about you. No, you don't want to pacify them or give them a hug. I genuinely just wanted my space, but he would come after me and just, want to cry and throw a temper tantrum. Basically, it was a weird combo. You think if for you guys that have guys and gals that have kids, how toddlers will sit there and go or throw themselves down on the ground and cry hysterically. That was him. That was him, and it's weird to see in a grown adult. There's nothing wrong with being vulnerable and having emotions and having a good cry. I don't really feel that one should look down on anyone who's opening up. But this wasn't opening up. This was them having a visceral, strong reaction to stuff that they were feeling. And namely for him, it was anger at me not accepting what he was telling me, because after a while I started to think of his apologies as BS, and I would tell him, hey, what about following up what you say with actions? We just had a discussion about this, and here we are arguing about this. I thought we were on the same page and we had come to an understanding. That certainly wasn't the case. At all, because he would come at me with something that happened 7 months ago about, a typical misunderstanding, and he would blow it all up and throw his tantrum, and then he might throw his fist through a wall. He punched several holes through the walls of where we stayed over the last couple of years, and it got to the point where I just stopped trying to pacify him and comfort him when he was doing all this, because he wasn't sorry, he wasn't remorseful. I found it was just him getting mad that I wasn't accepting his BS, and I was going to tell him so. I'm not a person that's going to sit back and not have anything to say and not address something. I want to address it with you face to face. And, I also will text you about it too. And the only reason why I would text him about, our crap was because he was at work. Now, he'll say that I shouldn't have bothered him at work, but there were things that were happening while he was working, things that he was to be responsible for or be the one that would have to follow up on something for that was important, like why he or like when he'd go get a check, for example, when we had something crucial that we had to pay, or why he wasn't getting paid. It's kind of like, well, we have bills to pay. And at the time, when I was first seeing him, I worked and everything, so I was contributing to bills, but, I I felt that since he was living with me, it was important for him to do his part, considering, he was contributing to the bills at that point in time. Now, when I decided to stay home and be a stay-at-home wife and then a stay-at-home mother, it was even more important for him to follow up on things related to pay. And I understand that it wasn't my money, and if I wanted some stability, then I really should have gotten a job. But again, hindsight is 2020. I was sold the dream that I could stay home and be a stay-at-home wife and a stay-at-home mom and raise our kids and pursue some of my personal endeavors, which involve music journalism, among other things. But anyway, going back to the narcissistic rage, some other things he would do is pace around, and he would go straight to drinking and more and smoking a lot of cigarettes, which didn't make the rage episode any better. It definitely made it worse. And he would threaten to just drive off, all drunk and messed up. And of course, I would try to stop him and say, hey man, we can sit here, we can talk, don't go off, don't put yourself on the road. And he would fight me on that. I would try to keep him from going, and it'd just be this back and forth, BS. And in hindsight, I really should have just let him go and called 911 or the cops or whatever. But I cared about him, and I didn't want him putting himself at risk, So yeah, it was pretty bad to witness and be subject to. Because eventually, it went from him having these pity parties to him directing all of his frustration and anger towards me. He'd get up in my face and put his hands up and tell me that I better shut up or else. And I'd go, what? I know you're not talking to me like that. And I just kind of wrote it off as him being too drunk. But in reality, that was the real him coming out. I excused and wrote off a lot of things that he did and said because he was drunk. But again, in reality, that was him. So, looking back, I really wish I would have just walked away before I had kids and become too invested with them. I bought a house with them, and last year, or year before that, we were actually thinking of going to business together. So thank goodness I didn't do that, because that just would have been more entanglement and more headaches to sort through when we went through the divorce. So that's the end of this video. I'm going to do another one here in a bit. Thank you for joining me and staying with me through my oopsies through the video, and thank you to the people who are subscribing. I'm now out at 9 subscribers last I checked, so that's great. I hope you guys are getting something from these videos. Again, I'm just a normal person who was with someone I suspect is pathologically narcissistic. So I hope to be bringing you this additional divorcing a narcissist video. I'm so sorry that it's taken so long to do it. I promise it will eventually get done. Okay, thank you for joining me. If you like this video, hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe so that you can get more of my videos, and hit the bell so that you can be notified. It was nice seeing you. Oh, seeing you. I can't see anybody. I'm not, Big Mama or anything. So yeah. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye.